Sparta will burn to the ground. The 1,000 nations of the Persian Empire descend upon you.
What must a king do to save his world?
Instead, ask yourself, what should a free man do?
Threaten my people with slavery and death.
This is madness.
Madness. This is Sparta!
All right, friends, welcome back to an unusual episode of Tactical Enlightenment. Today we have a bit of a side branch from our tactical episodes. There's still going to be some tactics, but this was sort of a challenge that someone posed to me. And the question was, how would our army do if it was the similar size to what they're playing with in their campaign? About 300 units, 250, 300 units. What's the upper bounds of how large of an enemy we could take on and successfully win, right? So we have these high-level companions. A lot of these guys are like level 50 or 45, and these guys are ready to rock. Of course, it's almost unfair to compare that to someone who's at a middle stage of a campaign. I've handpicked only like some of the most elite troops we have. It's almost entirely tier 5 and tier 6, although there's a handful of tier 4. And we're going to take on this Sturgian force that's over 4 times our size. Of course, we'll run at normal player damage. We don't need any handicaps in a small battle like this, and we'll see how we do. This battlefield is pretty well set up for us because you can see between those two ridges there's a little bit of a funnel here. I can sort of protect my units behind these rocks from enemy archers, and then funnel in their infantry here and effectively create a little bit of a kill box. People sometimes ask me what the fuck I'm talking about, a kill box. I recommend you check out the episodes on this channel about a kill box because it's probably, if it's not the most lethal tactic you can pull off, it's way up there. It's a process where you essentially allow the enemy to approach you, then you kite or you open up an area where they're highly vulnerable and then attack their main force from multiple sides. So I've got my archers and 8th Corps. I've got my 6th set up over here on the left, rather. My 1st Infantry, of course, will man the center like normal. And I'm kind of going to freelance a little bit here. I've got my 2nd Cav set up. This is not a normal setup. But what I essentially want to do is allow the enemy to sort of come through this valley. And then we're going to attack it on multiple sides. It'll be interesting here. I've had... The enemy's been pretty defensive lately in a lot of my battles, been surprisingly so, even when they're outnumbered like 2 to 1. So it'll be interesting to see if I actually have to attack Sturgia here. I mean, they were the attackers. The AI decided that yes, we were a good target, and they readily moved their large army up to attack me. But that doesn't necessarily mean that once the battle starts, they'll attack. The AI has done some strange things lately, and strange but smart, right? Like, there are times where it's basically trying to goad me into attacking it, in a situation that would be very disadvantageous for us. So I'm already shifting some units around. Just once you get down to the field level, the lay of the land is a little bit better. I like having my cav here protected by this cliff. Look at the size of that fucking force, right? There's a huge amount. They must have like 700 or 800 troops. Foolishly, they're trickling in here, right? These guys are absolutely toast. They're about to face, a ballistic onslaught like they've never faced before. So I can kind of fly in here occasionally, try to cut some guys down. I'll do this occasionally just to distract the enemy. And you see the archers there got a little spooked, right? They don't like having their head cut off by a polearm. It actually, I don't know if it was my actions or just how they're setting up, but it honestly looks like they freaked out when Zuvan the Terror came rolling into battle here. All right, so now I've got to see what's going on here. I get a little distracted. Yeah, so it's working beautifully. You see the enemy has effectively trapped themselves. So we're going to hold the line there with the 1st Corps, and now we're going to attack the edges here with the 6th, 8th, 2nd, and 3rd Cavalry. Right, that 1st Infantry is in a shield wall, and I'm counting on them holding up the line. Right, basically they're in defense, and the rest of us are just going to crimp in on the enemy from the sides here. They've got their own noble units. They've got their own tier 6, and this is their vanguard. So they're going to have tough units. They're going to have spearmen, veteran spearmen. It's not like we're beating up on peasants here. We're suffering actually quite a few losses here, but so is the enemy, right? It's a bloody exchange. I got a lot of attention to myself now. I'm going to try to sort of brute my way through some of these troops. Obviously, these types of challenges, I have no choice but to just fight as much as possible. I don't think we could win a battle like this if I don't kill 50 or 100 people. Yeah, tough troops here, right? The Sturgians have really tough infantry. That one infantry guy, it took me like 30 seconds to kill. Still, we're making progress, and that ridge strategy worked pretty well. I've got that one cav unit up there sort of absorbing arrows, and the enemy really didn't come to grips with us with their archers. Right? Had they been shooting us as well during that onslaught, it might have been even worse outcome for us. Now, looking at my troops here, I'm doing okay. I got 70, 90. I've got about 140 troops left, which is plenty. Look at this. They're conveniently leaving me a nice bag full of javelins to kill their troops. I don't know if these are my troops or theirs. Can't tell. All right, so they've got another big force still. I did recall my units. I see peasants though already. That's a very good sign for us. That bodes well. So I'm gonna stick a cav square right here. It's gonna be essentially a distracting meat shield, and then we'll attack the units that are attacking it. Right? I want the enemy to commit here. I don't want our troops coming up piecemeal. I want the enemy to sort of come in, be distracted by our cav square there, and I'm gonna bring the 6th and the 8th Corps kind of off to the side here, and then we'll attack in unison. Yeah. Mostly, well, there's some tier 3 guys in there too, but this is mostly tier 1, tier 2 troops. Even outnumbered, we're going to be able to overcome these troops. I'm already confident that we're going to win this battle. Let me look at the numbers. They have a huge amount of troops, but again, their archers are right at the edge of battle. They're just starting to get guys over that hill to shoot at us, and that'll be the last thing, of course, in this battle we have to tackle. My lines are holding out. I see tons of green death spam. Right, the enemy had a hard time with their elite units, right? And of course they're routing too. These guys have just had their asses kicked. They're out of here. We're gaining levels. Cutting arms off left and right. Their archers are right over this ridge. So what we don't want to do is just barrel into them unless it's obvious that we have the strength to do so. So recall our guys again. Critically in this battle, the enemy was the attacker, right? They attacked us, which means theoretically they have to attack. We could just sit in the corner of the map forever and they would have to attack. The reason I say that is because the AI is bound by no fucking rules, right? I've actually been in a battle before where I was attacked. Oh, this fucking hero of mine, she just killed herself on our horse. Well, she's dumb. That's a very low level companion. Maybe we'll dismiss her. I had an enemy attack me though once, and they literally sat at the back of the map in a defensive position for 20 minutes. I was cursing at the monitor. I was like, "Fuck you!" And that was one of the rare instances where I saved scummed. I was like, "Fuck that! That's horseshit. Like cheating, basically." The AI can sit there forever. The computer doesn't need food, doesn't need sleep. So we fought in a different manner. Anyways, I'm just sort of harassing their archers here. The AI is doing a very poor job with the archers here. Obviously, in a perfect world, it should split them up and approach us from different angles so it could at least shoot us. Instead, it's in a big fishball here where we can just highly weaken it with units we have. And even worse, they're right over the edge of that hill, so I just bring my units over, and my units are right in their face. Now they have to run just to get some separation to shoot. Well, we're not going to let them. I'm going to bring my 8th Corps in here, guys on horses, heavy horses, and we're just going to slaughter these guys before they can set up. They may get off a few shots, but it's not going to save them at this stage. Got cons guards. I mean, anybody looking at my army saying, "Well, that's no fair, right? The enemy has peasants and..." Well, so the reason I did this is first out of curiosity. I've never done a challenge like this. I actually did do a challenge where I saw somebody else had supposedly taken out an army of 100 guys on their own. So I gave it a few shots with my previous character, Grigor, and after about 6-7 tries, I think, I was able to do it myself. So not that big a deal. But this will be an interesting challenge, right? Because I have this ferocious army And it'll be interesting to see what a packed army of, we've got about 260 troops. Each time I fight somebody, I'll wander around the map basically and look for a bigger opponent, and we'll see what are the upper bounds of what this 300 guys can do. The number is incidental, but think of the 300 Spartans that supposedly killed thousands, maybe even tens of thousands of Persians at Thermopylae. It's not obviously far from an exact simulation of that, but we'll have these 300 guys run around for a few episodes and kind of show you what they can do. I also plan on having an episode that sort of shows this 8th Corps in a little bit more detail. So let me know what you think of this series. Stay tuned for more, and I'll see you friends next time.
Spartans! Tonight we dine in hell!